Defense wins championships. We hear it all the time. It's one of the biggest cliches in all of sports. But it's not wrong. And the NHL is no different. Sure, goal scoring is up this season. We're seeing 7, 8 goals a night, and that's not in total from a game, but from individual teams. But that's okay. Defense still matters, and we're going to give you a few names that might be the best defensive forwards in the NHL. It's time to talk Selke, baby! Hey, hockey fans, welcome back. Welcome in if this is your first time joining us. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, the place that appreciates a good stick lift as much as a snipe. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and smash that like button. Helps us out a ton, and I do appreciate it. Now, before we can dive into who potentially could add their name to the annals of hockey history, we need to take a look back at the history itself. Let's take a look back at the previous 10 Selke Trophy Award winners. Taking a look at this list, we do see some very familiar names, right? Some stars in the NHL, and honestly, I love that this award historically has lived up to its name. Looking at you, Norris Trophy. Be sure to check out our video on that, by the way. Link down in the description for you guys. But this award does tend to go to a player who is a star, but is also very, very good defensively. So that's a great start. The other thing that we notice when we look at this list is that one name has dominated the landscape of winners for the past 10 years. So you know what? What better place to start? It's time to talk about Patrice Bergeron. That's right. Now, if we're going to have a conversation about the Selke Trophy and individual defense, then we're absolutely going to start with Patrice Bergeron. And the man has evaded father time like no other. He's having an excellent season this year as well. Here we see his overall numbers courtesy of Hockey Stat Cards, and the man is putting up a great season so far. He's got 15 goals and 30 points so far, and if we look at his expected goals for versus expected goals against, which you know I love these numbers, we see, courtesy of JFresh Hockey, that he is actually showing two-way dominance right now at all strengths. That is absolutely fantastic. But one stat that is catching a lot of attention is his goals against this season. And no, not his expected goals against, which I'm a big fan of, but his literal goals against. If we take a look at the numbers for players who have played at least 650 minutes this season, so they've played quite a bit, and these numbers are courtesy of Natural Stat Trick, by the way, we see that while he's been on ice, opposing teams have only scored 19 goals. 19 goals. That's across any situation too, including almost 70 minutes on the penalty kill. Keep that piece in mind. And this isn't a luck thing too, as his expected goals against are just over 24. He's third best in the NHL by just a slight margin, only behind his fellow Bruins teammate David Pastrnak and Jesper Bratt of the New Jersey Devils. And speaking of his teammates, we're going to talk about Pasta. It's no surprise that the Bruins as a team are one of the best defensively right now in the NHL. And wouldn't you know it, they are one of the best teams in the standings too. Defense wins championships, remember? So it appears that the Selke is once again Bergeron's award to lose, right? So who could actually do it? Now, of course, we are going to listen to the numbers around here at the Hockey Flow, but first things first. We have to get a couple of things out of the way. First of all, if you don't kill penalties, no Selke for you. Sorry, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt of the Devils, Joe Pavelski, Jason Robertson of the Stars. You guys got to kill penalties. Next, I love myself some numbers, but we have to understand that this award is not strictly about the best defensive numbers. We would love it, but it's not. It does typically go to a player who is a top-line forward who excels defensively, but also produces. So, first up, Mitch Marner. Now, Mitch Marner is not necessarily the first name that comes to mind when I think of defensive excellence. But you know what? Maybe it should be. He's had an excellent season so far for the Maple Leafs, and the Maple Leafs team as a whole is actually playing really solid defensively. Production obviously matters, and we see that Marner is again putting up excellent numbers in that regard. He actually does have 12 more points than Bergeron at this point in the season. His analytics are also fantastic, as we see him very close to that two-way dominance part of this chart at all strengths. But one area that Marner has really excelled at analytically this season is the penalty kill. The penalty kill, and that's a big deal for me when I'm talking Selke. That is something that I need my winner to absolutely do. You have to kill penalties, and you have to kill penalties well. And would you look at that? Mitch Marner is grading out wonderfully in just over 87 minutes on the penalty kill this season in regards to expected goals for versus expected goals against. Now, Marner has been on ice for 20 more goals than Bergeron, and that was a big talking point for Patrice. So can Marner really take claim as the best defensive forward in the NHL? Next up, Martin Necas. I'm a firm believer that a team is a sum of its parts. And Martin Necas has emerged this season as a key member of a Carolina Hurricanes team that as of January 1st is leading the league in expected goals against per 60 minutes. The team defense is fantastic, and Necas is a big reason for that. As we look at his hockey stat card, we can see that he has produced as well this season with 16 goals and 36 points. Excellent numbers. But he has also done very well analytically, as we can see here, courtesy of JFresh Hockey once again. The two-way dominance, that is definitely a trend amongst the players that we're looking at, but keep in mind that this is also amongst all players who have played at least 650 minutes so far this season. That is why we're not talking about his teammate Sebastian Aho right now, because Sebastian Aho just hasn't played enough minutes. Necas, on the other hand, has played over 700 minutes so far this season, including 30 on the penalty kill. Sure, he grades out well analytically, but this is the one little complaint I do have on Necas. I want to see more time on the penalty kill. I need more penalty kill minutes under your belt if you're expected to be the Selke winner. So if that's not enough to unseat Bergeron, what is? We better move to our next Selke candidate, New York Rangers forward Chris Kreider. We easily could have gone with Mika Zibanejad on this one too, but so far on the season, the Rangers have allowed 5 less goals with Kreider on the ice as opposed to Mika. But I would not argue if you went with either of these gents, because they are a huge reason why the Rangers are staying in contention this season. As a team, the Rangers do rank the worst amongst the teams that we've talked about so far in this video in regards to where they rank in expected goals against per 60 minutes, but that number, it would be much worse without Kreider. We can see that this is the first of these players to fall into the everything is happening category, courtesy of JFresh Hockey, as he does have a slightly higher expected goals number, but the area that he is really standing out this season is the penalty kill. And this is why I wanted to talk about Chris Kreider, and this is why I think he has a legitimate shot at a Selke trophy. We can see here that he grades out excellently on the penalty kill in regards to expected goals for and expected goals against, or one versus the other. And if you want production, well, Kreider, historically, has been your guy. Just look to last season. But we see his hockey stat card here, and you know what? Once again, the goals have shown themselves, but you know what? Bergeron does have more points while being on ice for less goals allowed. Okay, we've taken a look at 3 excellent players. And to be quite honest, there are others we could have spoken about, right? Nico Hischier, Ropa Hintz. Their time will absolutely come. But right now, the numbers spoke highly of these players. But can any of them actually unseat Patrice Bergeron as the king of the Selke trophy? Well, I tell you what, if Bergeron and the Bruins keep playing like this, it's going to be real tough. That's going to do it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Who do you think is going to win the Selke trophy this season? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other videos. We've done a lot of really fun ones recently. Subscribe if you haven't, and be sure to smash that like button. Helps us out a ton. But until next time, hockey fans, cheers!